shit together.
Oh, here we go again. The other side of everything else. Coming at ya, hot and heavy. Oh, yeah. Bringing the heat. That's right. Got the old heat shirt from Monsters of Rock cruise. I think it's the 2020 cruise. Last one I was on, I got the new singer, or the new old singer. I got the original singer back. Of course, Eric Gronwall, he went to sing with Skid Row. But that's not what we're here to talk about. That's Danger, Danger in the opening. The band's so nice, you got to name them twice. The Dangerous Band. To be honest, I really wasn't into Danger, Danger when they first came out. They had the song Naughty, Naughty, and it was okay. You know, it's pop metal, it's what it was. I could take it or leave it, but I could get into it. I could not get into it, whatever. It really wasn't what my main cup of tea, and I don't even drink tea. And but later on, that was off the second album, Screw It. No, seriously, I mean, that's the name of the album, Screw It. I'm not telling you to. Anyway. I did get to see them at Rocklahoma a few years later, because they went through a portion where Ted Poley was out of the band. They brought in Paul Lane, and that's kind of what the show's going to get into. And like I said, Ted Poley's back in the band when I got to see him at Rocklahoma, and I got to see him live, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, these guys are pretty good. Same way when I saw Vixen live, Didn't really get into them when they was out in the 80s and 90s there, but I saw them live. I was like, whoa, man, these girls can play. But thing about Danger, Danger is they got a whole thing, and I'll get into that in just a bit. But right now, we're going to go ahead and jump into some news first. Well, do you ever wonder about the cancel culture? I mean, you don't hear as much about them now, but I always called it the loud minority because it was only a few people. I mean, it wasn't like the majority of the people, it was a few people that got loud, and for some reason, some politicians listened, the news listened and gave them a platform, and, and boom, all of a sudden, people was getting canceled. People was afraid to move on if they didn't cancel somebody because these people said it was wrong, It was the next evolution of, what do I call it, the politics, proper politics. I'm going blank. I'm going blank on it. I don't know. Jeez. Anyway, it's just stupidity. You live and let live. That's what I don't always say because I got a bunch of other words to say in between. But anyway, you live and let live, or if you're Paul McCartney, like back in the background there, you live and let die. Boom, James Bond reference coming at you. But anyway, crack staff right here at the other side of everything else. We got behind the scenes. We got to find some of the people that are kind of in charge of the cancel culture, the ones that got it started. Here's the first things we found.
That Jekyll Hyde stuff is expensive?
No, my wife has a whole glass of it every morning.
And then we had this.
My hot dog from yesterday. You don't have to push my backpack. I'm already done. Why? Done? Isabel only have to play once.
Anyway, that's what we uncovered, and that's where a lot of the cancel culture comes from, and that's the ones basically in charge of it. And so I don't know, maybe we're shining a light on it. Maybe some people might not take it so seriously next time. Maybe we've helped things out here at the other side of everything else. Hopefully we've at least helped you take another look at it, because it's just a loud minority, and it's time that we cancel them and stop them from having so much power. Anyway, there's a lot of things to talk about. WrestleMania season's here for wrestling, for you wrestling fans. I know a lot of you know I am a wrestling fan. Been watching that, and I think they've done an excellent job building it up. The matches, my son and I, we kind of predicted what the matches were going to be. You can even almost predict what the outcome's going to be, but it's all about the build up and the matches themselves, and the performers and stuff, and it's actually pretty exciting. So I recommend get Peacock, and check out WrestleMania April 1st, April 2nd. Next week, this Saturday, I'm going to go watch 38 Special. I haven't seen them since probably the late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm back in the 80s, and they were good back then. They were good, and I saw them the other time, too. I got high hopes. I'm really looking forward to the venue. It's Brown County Music Center over in Nashville, Indiana. So I'm really looking forward to the venue. I've not seen that venue, heard a lot of good things about it. So yeah, I get into the venues too. I like checking out the venues. And then next month we got Alter Bridge, and my wife and I are going to go watch them at the Louisville Palace, one of our favorite venues. And that's a high energy hard rock band. I went over their new album before, so like I said, I'll hopefully have some good video to show you from 38 Special from Brown County next week. But this week, as the code opening, it's Danger Danger. That's from the second album. But then after that, they made an album called Cockroach. Screw It came out in 91. Cockroach, I believe, I want to say 1993. I made some little notes I'm kind of trying to look at, but originally recorded in 93. And then, as a lot of bands did in that period, the singer was out. Ted Poley was out. And I've met Ted Poley. Great guy. He's always friendly, always cordial to the fans. People in Monsters Rock crews love him. I've seen him do solo shows on there. I've seen him with his band Tokyo Motor Fist on there. And I've seen him with Danger Danger. So, always a high energy show. Does a great job. Voice is still pretty good. But anyway, 1993 though, he was out. They brought a man called Paul Lane in. So instead of making a whole new album, they had him go in, re-record the vocals, and they was ready to release it in 94. But Ted Poley said nah. So he was suing the band, he was suing the label. The label was Epic, I believe. And so they just said it's not worth it. Grunge was coming in. Nobody's even really caring about the hair metal, the 80s metal. They were kind of becoming taboo anyway, so it wasn't worth it, so they just put it on the shelf. Well, and then Paul Lane, he still was part of Danger Danger, so they put out a few albums. See, I think I wrote a few of them down here. They got an album called Dawn, 95, For the Hard Way, 97, Return of the Gilder Sleeves in 2000. And I think there's a live album that came out later on called Live and Nude. I'm afraid to look at the cover, but the songs are pretty good, because one thing I've noticed about Danger Danger, without Ted Poley and with Ted Poley, is once the label wasn't there saying, hey, you got to put out another Naughty Naughty, you got to put out ballad, you got to do this and that, they got a little more raw, a little more edgy, and that was more my style. I like that, And then, of course, Ted Poley, he rejoined in 2004, I believe it was 2004, and of course he's done a couple albums with Ted. I think he's done at least one with Danger Danger since he's been back. But anyway, so that all worked out. And of course, Paul Lane, he's had his other projects too. Okay, I believe I put it on the other page over here. Let's see. If you want to know Ted Poley, while he was out of the band, he had a band called Bone Machine, 94 to 96. I've not really checked them out. Sounds interesting though. 2000, 2002, he has Melodica. 2002, he did a thing with some Poley Pitcher. Then he's back with the band, but he still did some solo stuff with Ted Poley. And from the whole time he was out of the band, he's kind of going back and forth, I believe. He had another thing called Pleasure Dome, then Poley Rivera, and then of course Tokyo Motor Fist. Paul Lane, he's a Canadian rocker. I'm with the Canadian rockers. I seem to gravitate towards him. But Paul Lane, he had solo albums out before Danger Danger. After Danger Danger, he had Shugaza. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He had a thing called Anderson, Lane, and Reedman. Of course, the other thing called Defiance, and as I just learned as I was looking at this stuff, I didn't know about. Got a new band called Jet Junkies. Jet Junkies. But anyway, let's get into the Cockroach. That was the album that came out. It got up the shelf. Well, 2001, Epic, they decided they were going to go ahead and release it. And they had two different versions. So they released a double album. And they released an album with Paul Lane singing, an album with Ted Poley singing, which I thought was kind of cool. It's pretty cool, you know. And I did discover it. I really didn't discover it until after I saw him at Rocklahoma, which was probably about 2007. But I went back, checked it out, and it's pretty cool. And I've been into it ever since. It's a good album. It's again, it's got a little bit of the heavier edge. And so what I've done here is I've gathered some songs. And I've gathered some songs with Ted Poley singing, and then I gathered the same song with Paul Lane singing. Now, I put it in different parts of this thing that it wasn't exactly the same. And their voices are very similar to each other, but let's jump into the first one. There's with Ted Poley.
Like a cherry, hotter than the 4th of July. Rough like a diamond, she could kill you with the wink of her eye. She's a smooth operator.
As you can see, that's kind of more, that goes along with the debut album and stuff. I mean, that's got maybe a little bit better production, I think. I like the guitar a little bit, you know, better than some of the stuff on the original, but or the debut. But that's Ted Poley, and you know, he sounds good. Nothing wrong with that. And here's the same song. It's called "Tip of My Tongue" with Paul Lane singing.
I can feel it, taste it. Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. Roll it, shake it. Ooh, it's on the tip of my tongue. She likes to make it too hard. Oh yeah, but I can't take it on my.
So as you can see, it same song. I think they went back, kind of touched up the production a little bit more on the Paul Lane too, on the music side. That I couldn't confirm, but Ted's voice probably a little bit higher, so just a preference there. I kind of like Paul's voice on that one a little bit better myself, and that's no knock against Ted whatsoever. I would have got into the song either way. I like the song, good catchy tune. And let's go ahead and bring another one up here. Here's with Ted Poley.
You could sell the Brooklyn Bridge to any woman, child, or man. You're so cold, but you got no regrets. Fists in the wind and you're gonna get wet. You wanna push your luck? Step to it. Whoa, walk it like you talk it.
Yeah, it's a song called "Walk It Like You Talk It." So again, you know, came out in originally '93, so you know, it's still got that vein of that '80s, '90s metal right there, that little kind of pop metal, but that had a little more crunch to it, you know. So I was digging it. That's Ted's voice. I like it. Ted does a great job there. And and then here's Paul Lane singing it.
Watching all you pretty boys acting so damn tough. You got a tattoo for your courage and a boom.
Almost like he sings it a little bit meaner than Ted.
How'd you get so stupid? Didn't go belly cop with your fame. You're so sincere with that innocent grin. Till I turn my back, then you're sticking it in. You talk so tough, you never back it up. Whoa, walk.
Again, I kind of lean towards the Paul version, and that's no knock against Ted. I'd have got into the Ted version too, and I do. But Paul, it seemed like he sung it with a little more conviction, I think, and that could be the times too. Ted was on his way out of the band. He could have been tired. He wasn't really into the recording session because things aren't going good. You know, it is when you're doing something and you're not really into it, or you're having some bad times with the guys, you know, or whoever, and you know, you're not agreeing with the engineer, you know, the producer or the guitarist or whoever, and then Paul comes in. You know, he's new, he's feeling fresh, so that could be all that too. But anyway, there's a couple of songs there. You know, the Danger Danger. But I just thought that was an interesting thing that happened with them, and then the way the Epic did it, and they brought both versions out, because that's not the first time. That's happened with bands before, where they've re-recorded the vocals and with somebody else, and the other one just gets shelved. And so I'm kind of glad they brought both versions out, and then people could choose, because if you're a Ted Poley fan, the original Danger Danger, and that's what you want. You don't want something different. Some people don't like to have a different take on their favorite bands. But I learned more about Paul Lane. Like I said, I've mentioned some of his solo stuff he did and other bands he did. But like Ted Poley, I got to see his other band, Tokyo Motor Fist, and Monsters of Rock cruise, and that's kind of what made me start thinking about it. Because what originally made me start thinking about this was I was into a band called Defiance, or the Defiant, and I really didn't know much about them other than I liked a few of the songs I heard or whatever, so I started checking them out, and then they got a new album coming out, and then they started talking about that he sang on Danger Danger songs in the 90s, and Ted Poley left, and then, you know, that Cockroach album, which I was familiar with, I kind of brought back the memory that, okay, yeah, I remember them talking about that. They made two different albums, and I remember listening to it, and I liked them both, but then made me think, you know, well, it's kind of cool, because the guys in the Defiant is Paul Lane was some guys from the other two guys from Danger Danger. So you kind of got Danger Danger there, and then Danger Danger was back together, so you had that. And then here, that's what Ted Poley was into, and he's put two albums out with him now, Tokyo Motor Fist, which the name, you know, it takes me a little while to get used to that name. I think they just, what name sounds 80s rock and roll? Tokyo Motor Fist, you know, because Motorhead, they had an album called Iron Fist, I guess, whatever. Not that they're really like Motorhead, but the cool thing about Tokyo Motor Fist I learned when I saw them on Monsters Rock Cruise is they are comprised of guitars from Trickster. Steve Brown, I believe his name is. No, I like Trickster, you know. The bassist, I can't think of his name right now, but he's played with guys like he played with bands like Rainbow, you know. He's played with like Billy Joel and stuff. So, you know, just interesting, you know, the contrast of the different musicians that he's got in there, and I didn't really get into Tokyo Motor Fist a whole lot until I saw him live. And then I'm like, okay, well, they kill it live, so they did a great job. And a little song called Youngblood. Steve Brown with the EVH amp there in the background. Very 80s sound. You almost hear Trickster in there right there. And it's not just a Ted Poley project. But, the same band on both albums.
You walk that walk and talk your talk. Cross that line without second thought. You see the light in a darkened room and solve the game.
There's Love Me Insane. This is the first album. Little cowbell at the beginning, you know, because you need a little more cowbell in there. Anyway, I don't know, it wasn't nothing too special, but it was good stuff. And it's one of those that the more I listen to it, the more I like it kind of thing. So anyway, that was I think Danger still does some stuff with Ted Poley. Of course, they don't with Paul Lane anymore. That's where the Defiant come in. I guess those guys, they like Paul, so they call a band with Paul. And then Ted Poley, he does some solo stuff, and he does, stuff with Motor City, Tokyo Motor Fest. And, of course, you've heard me talking about Defiance, and, well, here they are, Defiance. The Defiance.
Better get ready, 'cause I got news for you. Girl, I'm not wasting time. Love me rock steady, is all you have to do.
I just really like Paul's voice.
Crossing the line, I don't need to tell you about the things you've done, 'cause you know I can't take anymore. You treat on love.
They've done some shows over in Europe. They haven't done anything over here. I was hoping they would show up on the Monsters of Rock cruise, but I don't know if Paul Lane and Ted Poley get along together, and Ted Poley's kind of a fixture on the Monsters of Rock cruise. So you probably don't want to make him mad. I like that guitar there, but let's jump into some. On the song, You Cross My Heart. So anyway, there's a little look at the Defiance. So we went through a lot right there. So, well, let me know which band you like better. Did you like the Cockroach album with Ted Poley, the original singer for Danger, or did you like the version with Paul Lane, the replacement singer? And please go listen to the whole album, both of them. Both versions, both albums, because it's good albums. It's a good rocking album. Check out some of Danger's other stuff. And like I said, because they got to get a little edgier when they didn't have the record companies. You got to put a ballad out, or you got to sound like this. You got to put another Naughty Naughty out. A lot of bands did that. A lot of bands got to kind of get a little edgier and stuff, and it didn't always work, but sometimes it did, and most of the time it went underneath the radar, and most people don't know about it. But like I was saying, when I was doing this, and I started doing a little research, found out Paul Lane's got another band that just came out. It's only got one single out. I couldn't find if there's an album coming out. I couldn't find anything, a whole lot about them, because they're called, what was it, the Jet Junkies. The Jet Set Junkies. Jet Set Junkies. But here's the video they have out.
I'm going non-stop, let it drop, take now, prisoners. Who's gonna save it tonight? 'Cause I'm going through the hammer town. Watch my wheels keep spinning around. Rev it up 'cause I love it loud. Yeah, you better get ready. I'm gonna light it up.
I'm kind of liking that better than the Defiance right now. I mean, it's only one song. I'm just going by if that's the direction it's going. It just had a little heavier edge. I think the guitarist is from a band called Blood Red Saints, which is another band that I was into for a little while, and then they kind of faded out. I forget about some of these bands because I kind of get into them, and they fade out. I don't hear nothing about them, and then I'm off to another one. That's the world we live in. You can't keep my attention. I got it. What? I'm back. Anyway, we're going to end this with another news story. As a lot of you might have seen, where Biden, he had to take his physical, and then they said, hey, he passed with flying colors. He's very competent to run the country. He's in tip-top shape. I mean, to be an 80-year-old, he's just, is he 80? Or he's almost 80? I don't know, something like that. But they say he passed with flying colors. And well, we got an inside look at the doctors that was checking him out.
Don't wake him. He's been asleep 87 days. What a catnap.
That sounds like bad.
You know, they will do that once in a while. What is it?
The line's busy.
Oh, busy.
Oh,
Now you're disconnected.
excuse it, please. Give me back my nickel.
Here's 5. Get a bottle.
Well, they seem very competent, like they know what they're doing.
Look, he's awake.
Yes, he's awake.
Why, you idiots! I've been trying to beat Rip Van Winkle's record. I want to go to sleep. Put me to sleep.
Boys, put.
Well, there you have it. There's an inside look at the physical that Biden had to go through. So yeah, I mean, the doctors, I think that was Howard and Fine. Or was it Fine Howard? I don't know. But anyway, it seemed like very competent. Did a good job. And so I don't know. I don't know what we was doubting. You got doctors like that on the scene. But anyway, you got a lot to go check out. Go check out those Danger albums, especially the Cockroach, the 2 different versions. Check out some Tokyo Motor Fists and Jet Set Junkies. Check well, that's the only video, but check it out and see if you can find anything. If you find out anything, let me know. Look, there's more stuff coming out. What's happening with them? I might go back and check out some of this Paul Lane solo stuff that he had. These other bands, these other bands that Ted Poley did, Bone Machine. That sounds interesting, but that's all I have for you here. And so, be good to somebody be good to you, and you be good to everybody else be good to you, and I guess it's all good. But just keep searching for what you're looking for and looking for what you search for, and I know what you're saying. You've done got Kamala's speechwriters, don't you? Okay. Until the next time, I'll see you on the other side.